Hello, Raymond. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's good to see you, Antonella. What is going on over there at the Suazo Center?
Oh my heavens, we have a lot of people interested exactly in what you're going to present today.
Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight, dialing in, checking out to see where is the opportunities that can assist you in your business. Airport, Salt Lake City International Airport, for the last 5.5 years. It'll be 6 in October. Over all those years, and when you do the public math, 12 and a half plus 6 is 18 and a half. Wow. Um, Over my career of the number of years that I've been in transportation, my job, I look at it as being a carpenter, a carpenter in that I open doors and windows of opportunity for small businesses seeking contracting opportunities, seeking business opportunities with transportation entities that receive grant funds from the United States Department of Transportation.
Fantastic. So, wow. So you've got 18 years of experience and for such a young man as yourself. And so we actually are very appreciative that you're taking the time, at this hour to go ahead and share with us information about how to certify a business with the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. But in other words, if you're ready, let's go ahead and tell them how the program works and what it is.
Fantastic.
There we are.
You see it?
Yes, sir. It's queued up, and it's just the title page. Has Salt Lake City, and of course, the title.
Fantastic. So, before I get started in working with your agency and some of the people that I have worked with before, it reminds me of a story when I went down the San Diego area to one of the wall reserves with a friend of mine's, and I wanted to just tell a little bit about this story. We were down at this wall reserve, and there was animals that we were going to get ready to go and do the tour and see the animals in their natural habitat. But the friend that I was with was running just a little bit late. And so I went ahead and got on the tour bus, and it's an open area tour bus. And I knew that he had went back to the parking lot because he had forgot something in his bag. Well, as he came back, he came across this elephant, and this elephant was with their little child. And as you know, elephants are very, very, very protective of their children. So I'm sitting in this vehicle, like waving and trying not to yell, not trying to draw attention.
Oh my heavens.
I'm just waving at, stop, because he didn't see the little baby right there. But of course, it got a little bit too late, and he came across the baby, and the mother, as you see pictured, saw that and immediately went into protective mode. And so myself and the other people that are sitting on this tour bus, we're looking over like, oh, wow, what in the world is about to happen? Because here comes the mother charging. So at one point, he winds up spinning around and he sees the mother coming, and he takes off. Now, he thought that he could outrun the mother elephant, but when you're very protective of your young, you find an extra mile or mile and a half in your stride. So at this point, trying not to laugh, as well as the other people, as I looked around the tour bus, not trying to laugh, we realized that he's running from this elephant, and this elephant is chasing him. So in his smartness, he saw this tree, and that's why the elephant's kind of reaching up. And he saw the tree, and he figured, I can jump up into the tree to evade the elephant. Now, all of us sitting on this bus are watching this, and it's kind of like in disbelief. So he jumps onto this tree and starts climbing up. Needless to say, an elephant, a mature elephant, has a long grasp. And so as he's climbing up onto his main branch, shimmying up, shimmying up, shimmying up, the elephant reaches up with its majestic trunk and wraps the trunk around his pants leg and just starts pulling and pulling and pulling.
Oh my heavens.
just like I'm doing right now. I'm pulling your leg. But as someone from the government, I am here
I'm thinking that you're going to tell us something horrible and gory. And I thought, oh, my heavens.
Just like the three greatest things, the checks in the mail. I'm here from the government, trust me. And I'm here from the government to help you. And I'm actually here from the government. I'm here actually to help you. So I want to talk a little bit tonight about what is the the U.S. Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, and what is a DBE firm, and what is an ACDBE firm. And please understand, you do not have to do the certification to do business with Utah Transit Authority, Logan Cash Transit District, Park City Corp, City of St. George. You don't have to be certified to do business with them. You can do that on your own. It's just that when you're certified into the program, you have an advocate that's out there to help advocate for you on what opportunities are coming in their agency, but also after you get a contract, they're advocating to make sure that you're being paid correct, you're being paid on time, you are aware of other opportunities, and someone has your back, someone has your support through the project that you're on. The reason why I show this tree is because people starts to think that when you start talking about government programs, this tree is just like the government, and that that trunk represents the United States government. But then if you notice off of this particular tree, there are so many branches, so many different branches of this tree off of this government. So I'm going to talk about one of the main branches that's off to the left, a little, this branch over on the left-hand side that is off of the United States Department of Transportation. And that's where this program, and that's where the certification benefits people that are a part of that branch. I'm not here to talk about the SBA side. I'm not here to talk about GSA side. I'm not here to talk about even Department of Defense side. I'm only here talking about the United States Department of Transportation off of Secretary of Transportation's office, because the grant funding coming out of that office is how someone utilizes this certification we call the DBE certification, or the ACDBE certification. What is a DBE firm? A DBE firm or ACDBE firm basically is a small business. In this particular program, a DBE firm meets the criteria, and we'll get into that in a second, but it's a firm that's owned and operated by a woman or minority or a white male that can demonstrate that they're socially and economically disadvantaged. What is an ACDBE firm? As I mentioned before, an ACDBE firm is an airports concessions disadvantaged business enterprise firm. So that's a small business that provides goods and services for the food and beverage or retail stores or rental cars. Rental cars are a concession out of the airport. Whether you're providing goods and services or you're actually running a concessions at an airport, that's what we call an ACDBE, someone that is certified under the criteria under the United States Department of Transportation's DBE program, but they're working in the airport. And again, you do not have to be certified to be in this. You don't have to be certified to do business with the airport or any agency in this state that receives funds from the United States Department of Transportation. But it's very good to have someone advocating for you, someone to support you in your process. And the thing about the certification, not only in this state, but you can get certified in other states to do business as well. So if you want to do business, let's say in Reno, Nevada, or Nevada for that fact, or Las Vegas, or Denver, or Reno, or Boise, Pocatello, at any agency that receives funds from the United States Department of Transportation, this certification helps you to get certified in those areas as well. So you said to me earlier, Antoinette, what is the DBE program? And I've said basically it's designed to help take the catch out of a catch-22. You can't get any jobs if you don't have any experience, and you don't have any experience if you can't get any jobs. So with an advocate like myself, when contracts come up, whether it's on the construction side or if it's on the concession side, I'm going to assign a goal. I'm going to do some calculations based on some very specific data to the state, to the local market area, and very specific to the airport. And in doing those calculations, I come up with a goal. And then whoever is bidding on this particular contract and this goal is attached to that contract. Now, let's say the goal is 10%. So 10% of the contract value, I am encouraging whoever is proposing on this contract, I'm encouraging them to go out and find firms that are certified in the program. So while you're getting certified and you're in the program, now I'm motivating people to come over and take a look at you that may not have looked at you before to see the kind of goods and services that you provide, whether it's on the construction side or if it's on the concession side. So in a nutshell, that's what the DBE program is all about, is taking the catch out of a catch-22. Now, what is the criteria for certification? Well, one, the owner or owners that are a woman, that are a minority or a woman, they have to demonstrate that they're a 51% owner and you own, operate, control, and have financial risk. And you prove that criteria through regular business documents that you have to establish your company. Example, you have a operating agreement or you have bylaws, and in those bylaws or the operating agreement, it says who is who does what, and what happens and how things happen. And through those simple business documents like operating agreement, the determination of ownership, why was the president, who was determined to be president and why, and who is the vice president, who are these key people? But the folks that make up the ownership that are 51% or greater, using these business documents, that helps whoever is doing the certification to take a look at how you own, operate, and control, as well as have financial risk in this company. Second criteria, company's gross receipts cannot exceed, averaged over a 3-year period. Under the DBE program, your company's gross receipts cannot exceed $22.98 million. In the AC DBE program, it's a little bit higher because some of the capital investment that a concessionaire, having a food and beverage concession at the airport, so you have to do build out in the airport, or you have a retail store, that capital investment is a little bit higher. So therefore, the gross receipts is a little bit higher, and it's at $56.42 million. The owner's personal net worth cannot exceed $1.32 million minus the equity they have in their business. And then the fourth criteria, based on the size standards from the Small Business Administration, based on the NAICS code, the North Atlantic Industrial Classification System code. That's a 6-digit code that says you are a low voltage electrician, or it's a 6-digit code that says you can operate restaurants, or it's a 6-digit code that says that you replace windshields, or you do body repair on cars, or you're a consultant in the area of manufacturing, or you're a consultant in the area of marketing and management consulting, or you're a supplier. Based on the Small Business Administration size standards, based on your annual gross receipts, that's a size standard that determines whether or not you're deemed a small business. So, for example, if you're a low voltage electrician, the SBA size standards, I believe it's about $13 million on average annual gross receipts. So you have to meet all 4 criteria for certification. So you have to meet the size standards under the SBA, you have to meet the personal net worth criteria, the company's gross receipts, as well as the criteria for certification. I guess I just blew you away, huh?
You did. Look
Yeah.
at that. Wow.
Now, I bet you're sitting there saying, Antonella, I know you're just sitting there saying, gee, Raymond, where can I find this application? And is there a local resource that can assist me?
How
Well,
did you
yes.
guess? Funny that you ask, you say.
Yes, yeah. Well, for doing public math for 6 plus 12, 18 some odd years, I can begin to read minds. So in reading your mind, here are 2 links where you can find the application. And this one link just happens to be the link to the airport. But there's an application and a personal net worth that you can download and complete, fill it out, and then you'll mail that in based on the address that's on that application. You can also find that same application at Ride to You at Utah Transit Authority's webpage as well. Now, the local resource that can assist you is the Suazo Business Center. They're there to help you, and it's a free resource in the sense of the application for this particular program and any certification questions that you have. In fact, it's strongly encouraged for you to go over to the Suazo Business Center and have them help you with your application, because you can ask them questions that I normally could not answer because I just happen to be one of the people out there that will do the actual certification. And so it's very helpful for them to answer all those questions that you have on certification, so that way I can be objective. My job in being objective means, so you fill out the application, you turn it in, then I will come out, or someone that's doing the certification will come out, and they do an interview. Now, these current days right now, the interview might be virtual, or someone actually comes out and they will do an interview with you to see that what you put on the application actually matches what you actually do. And as I mentioned before, this happens to be a free resource to assist you with the DBE certification application, or the AC DBE certification application.
Raymond, I just want to interrupt you for a little second. We have in the comments added the links that you actually are presenting here for us, so that people can direct themselves to that. I just thought that I'd go ahead and interrupt you and let people know that look in the comments, and the links to these applications or this information, you're going to find it if you click on them.
Thank you. That's very, very helpful. As well as, you have to also understand that when you're doing this application, the last page of the actual application is the list of the business documents that you would have a part of establishing a business. But it is a complete list, a checklist. And by going through that checklist and providing all the documents that it's requesting and providing a completed application, helps reduce the amount of time it takes to get your certification done. It's helpful for me as a certifier if I have all the requested and required documents. It reduces the amount of time of going back and forth, asking for this document or asking for that document. So if folks can keep that in mind, by making sure you have all the documents that's off that checklist, it helps reduce the amount of time to get an application process reviewed and a decision to be made. Because we cannot make a decision without all of the required documents.
Of course, and it is quite an extensive list. And something else about the end of the application that folks need to be aware, that when you're signing, you have to sign in front of a notary, just so that they know, because they have to actually stamp it, because it says notarized, if I'm not mistaken, Raymond.
Correct. That is correct. Now, over the years, I've had folks kind of give me the look when they see this application, because 17 pages of the application is just the application instructions. The application itself asks questions like name of the company, who are the owners, how much did you use to get started, where are you located at, do you have a web page, do you have an email address, based on the NAICS codes that of the work that you do, list those NAICS codes. Who's in charge of daily operations? Who's in charge of finances? Who are the folks that are able to sign? It's business questions that you do or you're experiencing or you're operating with on a daily basis. And so I've gotten some folks saying, oh, the application is too long. And though it is paper, you're going to find it's a lot of the same questions that you have already addressed, already dealt with, or dealing with that you're asked, that information is just asking you for. So, as I mentioned, there it is. The Suazo Business Center is a valuable resource for me, but also a valuable resource as for a small business, because not only on this application, assistance on this application, which is free, but they also bring a lot more. They also bring more technical information and resource to the table to assist you as a small business. So I find the partnership very, very helpful in that they can provide wealth of information and get questions answered for you, whether they have the answers or they have a Rolodex, so that they can always call someone and get the correct answer in regards to any aspect of your business. And of course, in case you don't happen to have their contact information, here it is that is displayed.
Thank you for doing that for us, because definitely we are actually broadcasting it on the comments. Also, you'll find how to find us and how to help you, on filling out this application. Many times, what's interesting is that the application is not complicated as the way that I see it. It's just that you do have to collect, what you're being asked, and that is fair. And what we do is make sure that we're looking over, you're still missing this, you need this, make sure you have that. And also, if you have a question, rather than asking, of course, as Raymond told you, that he actually is part of that certifying body, so he can't really answer, but we can. And it's not like... and if I can't get a hold of Raymond, I will go ahead and ask other people. And so what we want is make sure that we have plenty of women-owned, minority-owned, or a disadvantaged business enterprise that someone that could qualify for this to get those certifications.
Correct. And you'll find, and the reason why, because on the screen right now, I'm showing that tree again, and I want to come back to that tree for a second, because over the years, I've heard folks say, well, it's another federal program and it's the same and this and that. And I always refer back to the tree. Yeah, the stump of the tree is the government, and the ground, the green, that's the people and the tax dollars that we pay. But the tree has so many different branches. And so I can't talk about the SBA branch. I can't talk about the GSA branch. I can't talk about the DOD branch. I talk about the branch that I'm held accountable to, which is the FAA branch that branches off of the United States Department of Transportation, which is under the Office of Secretary of Transportation. So you're saying, gee, Raymond, what types of agencies or companies seek firms certified in the DBE program? Well, on the construction side, there are transportation agencies, or even, and this is something that folks didn't know, there are consultant project engineers out there that are also seeking firms that are certified in the program to do business with. And I'll explain that in a second. Transportation agencies. So, for example, Logan Cache Valley Transit District, they receive funds from the United States Department of Transportation. So they have to have a DBE program, and they need people to stripe the parking lot. They need people to put down asphalt. They need firms whether they're just doing preventive maintenance or they're building, whether it's Logan Cache Valley Transit District, Park City Corporation, City of St. George, Sun Transit, which is down there. They are all looking for DBE firms to do work for them because they receive funds, grant funds, and because of that, they have to implement the program and they have to establish goals on those contracts that have federal funds in them. Consultant project engineers. This is something that folks do not know about. A consultant project engineer could be hired by a given city because the city, good example, well, there were some airports last year that received $8, $9, $10 million a piece because they receive grant funds because they're looking at doing a rehabilitation on their runway. Well, because of that, instead of the cities trying to do the procurement themselves, they hire a consultant to handle the project, whether to get the design, get the bids, do the paperwork, get the construction done, and then complete the project and wrap it up, so everything all said and done, and that way they just turn it back over to the FAA. Well, those consultants are the ones that are ensuring that the contractors that are submitting bids are seeking out DBE firms. And the thing that people don't know is that if small businesses that are certifying the program don't know who to reach out to, then these projects go without someone that's certifying the program on that particular contract because they can't find anybody, because the people that they can't find didn't know that these projects are out there. What type of agencies are required to have a DBE program? Well, any municipality or agency receiving federal grant funds from the United States Department of Transportation. Whether they're receiving funds directly, like Salt Lake City Department of Airports or Utah Transit Authority, Logan Cache Valley District, Utah Department of Transportation, if they're receiving funds directly, or maybe they're receiving funds indirectly, they're receiving it through another agency that passes it on. Or they're a municipality that's getting funds directly from the United States Department of Transportation. A good example was about 12 years ago, the city of Ogden received federal funds through Utah Transit Authority to build their intermodal hub facility downtown Ogden. So though the money came through Utah Transit Authority, it went to the city, but the city did the procurement. So that's an example of an agency that is required to have a DBE program, because if they receive more than $250,000 in a given year, they have to have a program. Where do you find contracting opportunities? I knew you were going to ask that question, Antonella, so I thought I'd ask that question for you. Well, there are several websites that you can go to, whether it's Utah Transit Authority's website, Utah Department of Transportation's website. There's actually, under the airport system, there is the FAA DBE system. And on that particular website, there's a link, there's a window that you can go in, and it tells you all of the airports that have procurements that have federal funds that are coming up for bid. So with you getting certified in the state of Utah, you can now turn around and be certified in another state and go after some of these opportunities. In the city of in Salt Lake City, the opportunities are posted on the city's website, as well as an entity called SciQuest that also will list those procurements and those procurements that are out at the airport, as well as there are consulting engineering firms, and be more glad to let you know who those are, but consulting engineering firms that are also always seeking DBE firms in the construction side to do work, whether it's down the street like Provo, or out in Richfield, or Vernal, or Bullfrog, or St. George, or anywhere else in between, as well as agency websites. And one of the biggest things to do is to attend DBE outreach or seminars that are offered by Salt Lake City Department of Airports, Utah Transit Authority, Utah Department of Transportation, because we offer those quarterly, sometimes and biannually, as well as we participate with the PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center's annual purchasing symposium. But those are very good to attend to find out what are some of the upcoming contracting opportunities, whether it's on the concession side or on the construction side.
Raymond, we do have a question here from Gerardo Bueno, and he's asking, where can I get the certification and how can I do bidding? I think you were already speaking to that, but.
Correct. So how can you do bidding? Like I said, there are several websites that he can access. SciQuest is the biggest one as far as Salt Lake City. I know UDOT has their own, as well as Utah Transit Authority has their own. But that's something that we can definitely follow up with him to get him on which agencies he's looking at or where to look to find those entities.
Right, and just so that, Gerardo, that Suazo Business Center, we will help you to fill out the applications for these to get that certification. Also, we went ahead and put some of the links in the comments that you'll be able to see, and you'll be able to click on that, just so that you know. But thank you for asking your question, Gerardo, and thank you, Raymond, for answering.
Well, that was a good question, really good question. I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to talk about where I work at, which is the newest airport in the country, on the block, in this millennium that has been built. Salt Lake City, we call it the new SLC. And what are some of the opportunities? First of all, at the airport, there are totally new stores out there. There are stores, some of them are local, like in the picture I'm showing, Hip and Humble's a local woman-owned store. Liberty Park is a a convenience store that's out at the airport. And then there's places like Mac, Coach, Fry, that are some of these new retail stores that are out there. I've been amazed. There's this retail store called Johnson & Murphy. The shoes are comfortable, very, very comfortable.
Oh my heavens, you just did a very bad thing, because I'm already going to be flying, and there's two of my favorite stores that you just touched on. Mac, of course, and Coach. I mean, I'm excited. How did I not know this?
I had no clue. When we bid this back in when the procurement went out in 2017, I was like, Mac, who Mac? So, as well as the food and beverage, there's new restaurants out there, some of the local, some of the national, but they bring a totally different flavor, pun on that, but a totally different flavor to the airport as far as different food concepts, whether they're local or regional or national, and it's a lot better than what we used to have. With that being said, out at the airport, another area of opportunity, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about it briefly, is car rental concessionaires, but also we have a convenience store. There is several local firms that are certified in the program that are providing items that are sold in that convenience store, whether it's to-go food, grab, go, heat, or just grab and go and eat, to souvenirs that are sold in that convenience store, that local firms that are certified in the program, because the person that has the contract with the convenience store has a goal that they're trying to work to meet annually. And to do so, they're always looking for those firms that are certified that can provide goods and services that can be sold at the convenience store. So I'm going to talk briefly about some of the other opportunities that are out there. When I talked briefly, I talked about NAICS codes, NAICS. What's showing on the screen right now are some of the goods and services that rent-a-car agencies out at the airport are buying locally. For example, printing, towing services, uniform cleaning, janitorial, electrical, cleaning supplies, auto transport, auto body repair. These are some crucial areas that these businesses, these major rental car brands, are out there seeking firms that are certified to provide or perform those types of goods and services. So that's on the car rental concession side. I talked a little bit about the convenience store. In the airport, the food and beverage and retail. And then there are even miscellaneous items out there. For example, we have to have ATMs, and there's telecommunications that need to connect those ATMs so that way traveling public can access cash. Even something simple as shoe shine, that shoe shine contract comes up every once in a while. And that's something that a local, I know there's someone out there that could provide that service out at our new airport. So all that being said, there are a wealth of opportunities at the airport or at transit-oriented agencies or highway agencies in the state of Utah. The Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, and a branch off of that is the Airport's Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. This is a program that's designed to help small businesses get experience so that way they can compete in the mainstream. And that happens because folks like myself, when contracts come up and they have funds that are federal grant funds that are used to do that procurement, we put encouragements. And I say the word encouragement because by law, we can't do a quota. We can't say your goal is 10% and you must meet that 10%. No, that in this particular program, that is not legal. But we do what's been called a goal, and the liaison officer is giving whoever that contractor is, that potential contractor, we're motivating them to go out and seek firms that are certified into the program, so that way the contractors can go over and meet them and then come back with a contract to meet the goal that we've established in that contract. So that way that small business, that owner who has decided to work for the most difficult person in the world themselves, can have an opportunity to build a better mousetrap. So on my branch of the tree off of the Office of Secretary of Transportation and under the United States Department of Transportation, we have this program that's called the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, as well as the Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program that is here to assist small businesses to help them grow their business. Before I conclude, there's one thing I do want to say, because I've heard this over my number of years in this program. Can't they come up with a better name? I'm not disadvantaged. I work hard. I do this and I do that. And I get up at the crack of dawn and I go to bed before the sun can even decide to go down, and da da da. And my response to that is, a rose by any other name is still a rose. If you have any questions, I am more than glad. Please email me. I am more than glad to answer any questions that you have in regards to the DBE program, what some of the opportunities are, as well as connect you with some of the other of my colleagues at some of the other agencies to make you aware of what some of the other opportunities are at those agencies.